Yeah, she's live on.
I just did that. Oh, I need to make you co-host real quick.
5 people waiting. Should I let them in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from. I'm excited to be sharing with you this morning or this afternoon or this evening, wherever you're coming from. But we're going to have a great discussion today. This is the second Fireside chat. We're streaming live on YouTube as well. And for those of you that don't know or have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do so. There's probably a couple hundred different videos and like 40 different 90-second lessons on there, quick little lessons that you can learn from. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I go live or when a new video is posted. But I'm excited to be with you here this Friday morning. I'm here in Las Vegas, so it's morning, Friday morning, the 19th day of February. This year is going so incredibly fast. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this fireside chat here. Real quickly, those of you that don't know me, I am been involved in this industry now for 32 years. I came to the industry, no business, no professional, no sales background whatsoever. I was a blue collar worker, high school education. I have a learning disability, dyslexia, really struggled, with reading and spelling still today, actually. And, but really affected my self-esteem and self-confidence. And I just like to share that because, people, they join network marketing and they just don't know, can I do this? Am I good enough? I can't sell, I'm shy, I'm introverted. I mean, I was all of that. And I guess one of the things that's so exciting about, what we have in network marketing is there is no, it's a level playing field. It doesn't matter where you live, what your age, your education, your finances, what you do, it's a level playing field. And it's not just a level playing field. It is a business of personal development. I mean, as Jim Rohn always says, it's not what you earn, it's who you become in the process. And we here at Network Marketing, we absolutely build people, right? We're building our businesses, but we are building people. The personal development is, worth as much as the financial end. Matter of fact, the financial end won't come without the personal development. They work very, very hand in hand. If you really want to be a successful person within the network marketing world, you have to make a commitment to personal development, right? It needs to be a part of your DMO, your daily method of operation. And for me, I think back all the way to 32 years ago when I entered the industry. The internet didn't exist. We were driving around, meeting people, talking to people, doing meetings, and everywhere I went, I was listening to, at that time, audio cassettes, right? Everywhere I went, I was listening to audio cassettes. I remember one time driving from Fargo, North Dakota to Denver, Colorado, and I literally only stopped to get gas. I was just so enthralled in listening to Jim Rohn. And I would get myself just so, I would drive for, 12, 14 hours because it would just stimulate my mind and the knowledge and the wisdom. And I would not be here today. I would not be here today had I not dove into personal development. And, so anyway, guys, here we are. Just gave it a minute for a few more people to join on, and I'm rambling about, but this is a fireside chat. And so I really want to know what questions are on your mind, what I can help you with. I'm going to start out, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I actually earlier this week did a kind of a coaching call with an individual brand new, just joining, talking about, what is some of the most important things for me to know or to do. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. And that's going to give you guys maybe some time to think about some questions. Maybe your questions might be about, developing your story. I mean, your story is crucial. Your story is crucial. And if you're out there telling your story to people and you're not getting people excited, you need to work on your story. Right. So we can talk about that. I mean, if that's something you want to talk about, we can talk about that. Another thing I always do is I call it a personal checkup, right? Always evaluating, how am I doing? Constantly asking yourself, how am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing with my prospecting? How am I doing with my personal development? How am I doing with my follow-up, right? How am I doing with the example that I'm setting? And that's that's going to lead me into what I was just talking about. I did a coaching call early this week, brand new person just getting started, and said, well, what should I be doing? And of course, I'm saying you need to develop your list, right? We need to develop that list, make it long and strong. Don't prejudge. We need to give everybody the opportunity to at least say no, but get that list put together. Get that list put together, long and strong. And then I said, we want to approach that list. But here's the thing that's very important in approaching that list is, number one, is your posture, your belief, your excitement, your enthusiasm, because people buy people. If you approach people and you're hesitant, you're, and you understand when you're hesitant, you kind of tiptoe into something, or you're talking softly, or you're just not sure of yourself. I mean, that's why when I got started in this industry, before I went into my prospecting, I would listen to tapes. I'd listen to one of the leaders in the company. I would listen to some personal development. I would get myself excited so I'm in the right frame of mind. I have the energy to prospect and really have an impact on people. So talking to him about his personal mindset and having that definite a purpose. I mean, that you're not showing any hesitancy, any weakness when you approach people. Okay. The other thing I said is your job, right? You take that list, you're excited, you have the right mindset to attack that list. Your job is not to try to give them a drink with a fire hose, just explain everything to them, right? Your job is to stimulate an interest. We talked about this last week, stimulate an interest. I always say, leave people wanting more, right? Your job is to stimulate an interest, to get them excited and while you're stimulating that interest, you want to create that curiosity. You want to create a sense of urgency, that curiosity. But if you tell them too much, guess what? You've satisfied their curiosity. They start prejudging, right? Less is more. Less is more. You want them anxious to see what it is you're talking about. But if you start telling them everything, then they don't need to look at the tool you send them, right? So that's the whole goal, is because tools work. And here's the thing I told them about tools. Tools duplicate. Right? Tools tell a perfect story every single time. Tools work when you're not there. Tools work long distance, and if you're relying on your skills and ability, if you're not there, nothing happens, right? Or if you're not skilled, nothing happens. But everybody can stimulate that interest. Again, just like telling somebody about a movie or telling somebody about a restaurant, and they're like, man, I got to try that. I got to see that, right? That's your goal. Keep that in mind. Just like telling somebody about that restaurant or movie, you want to have high energy. You want to demonstrate that belief and confidence that you're truly excited, that you've got something, stimulate that interest, and then you want to get them a tool. And tools, guys, flat out work, but tools don't work if you don't position the tool properly. Right? Tools only work if people review the tool. And if you tell people too much, many times they prejudge and won't review the tool. Your job is to create that curiosity, stimulate that interest so they're anxious to see that tool. And then I said, here's why that's also important. because everything you do sets an example on what others think they have to do, right? So, you know, if you come across for 45 minutes, giving them a drink with a fire hose, they're thinking that's what they're going to do. But when you keep it so basic and simple, and then you just send them a tool, folks, that's what's going to duplicate. That's, you know, they're going to say, I could do that, right? You know, you can do that. So, anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a chance to think a little bit about what you might want to talk about here today. Again, I'm open to anything. I really want to keep it, though, focused on business activities, business orientated type questions. So if anybody would like to kind of jump in, don't be shy. You know, just you know, have a personal development moment and jump on and ask me a question, and let's see if I can help you out. And if you have a question, I promise you other people have the same question. So they're going to want to hear the answer as well. So let me just take a moment. Anybody have a quick question, or do I need to quit talking? We're going to do the silent pause. It's going to feel like eternity, but I'm going to do it anyway and give somebody a chance to jump here and give me a question. Okay, looks like Jerry Erickson came off.
I do have a question, John, about the new global bonus pool. And my question is, I know that when it was first introduced, we had to have a 100 BB order in January, and then the rest of the year as 100 BB loyalty purchase. My question is, what happens when somebody comes in February? Is the bonus going to be prorated at the end of the year would be like 10 months rather than 12? Or does their year go from February to February?
Yeah, so here's the best answer I can give you on that. Number one, tomorrow on the Saturday morning training, I'm going to be talking about this bonus. I'm going to be going through some very specific details. There's a video about ready to be released. I'm going to be talking actually to Bruce Matheson later today, you know, clarifying some of these questions like the one that you just asked. Okay. But originally it was, you know, kind of thought or believed that, you know, you have to be on loyalty purchase to participate at all. All right. And that's not actually the case. You have to have a 100-point order to participate. If you want the extra points, those 5 points, you need to be on loyalty purchase for the full year. Right, that gives you those extra 5 points. For those people that come late to the game, right, maybe they've joined this month, or maybe they join in 6 months from now, they're able to receive that 1 point for every 4 months that they're on. Okay, so that's my understanding. And again, we're going to bring some clarity. I'm going to probably have Bruce even see if he can join me tomorrow. We're going to bring some clarity on this particular subject tomorrow. So I think I'll be able to give you a better answer on this tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Go ahead, who wants to jump in? I know
John, I will.
Okay.
I've been reading your book and I absolutely love it. But my question I have, I've been trying to find the part that triggered a question inside of me, and it has to do with family, mainly family. When talking to your warm market, I love what you say about network marketing and how you're going and sharing good news with people. You're sharing a passion and a love for a product, and it sells. Well, I know in your book you talk about oftentimes somebody says, well, you know, network marketing, you know, they're just trying to get something from me. Somehow when you talk to family, they're okay about buying it from somebody else, but not you. Do you have any tips on what we can do to tear that wall down? Be patient, because it seems to be something that everybody deals with. How can we navigate that in a positive way and come back and visit it again when it's more appropriate? Timing is everything. So if you could help us out there, it'd be appreciated.
You know, it really is funny because people are getting involved in network marketing. They're somebody's family, right? They're just not ours. because nobody seems to have much success with family. It's craziest deal. I mean, here I am, made millions and millions of dollars, and I have no one in my family involved. And so, my brother has played around with it a little bit, but otherwise, no one in my family has gotten involved. And I think the key in family is because you can create this uncomfortable feeling when you push too hard. Okay, and this is true with anybody, right? But especially with family. And you go to a holiday and all you're doing is talking about your business. I mean, nobody wants to hear that, right? I mean, I have found that being a little bit quiet about it, a little bit reserved, kind of like letting them pull it out of you, because they're curious. But if you come at them, it's like their defenses come out. Let them, kind of come to you, right? Maybe more in an indirect way. One of the ways I think you can talk to family too, and this also works with other people, is a little bit of the takeaway, right? I'm super excited about this, and I know it's nothing you would ever want to do. Right? Sometimes a little bit of takeaway, because people don't like things taken away. They don't like things jammed down their throat, but they also don't like things taken away from them. And sometimes this works with maybe some people that you're a little bit scared to talk to, or somebody that you kind of have in your mind is going to be a bit of a naysayer or a bit of a, Debbie Downer. Take it away from them right away, right? Just say, you know what, I got this new little business going, and I am so excited about it. And, I really don't even want to talk to you about it because I don't think you'd have any interest. Well, what are you doing? What do you mean? Let me see. And it, all of a sudden they come on the offensive, wanting to know more about it. Does that make sense?
It does, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that to be a pretty successful approach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
John, can I just add something to that? I was talking to my son recently, and they've seen me in network marketing for, 30 years, and have never wanted to hear about it. And so I've never told them. I've never pushed it on them. But we were having lunch a couple months ago, and he said, well, I know you just sell product. And it just made me laugh, because I thought, they don't even know what I do. And I told him that. I said, you have no idea what I do. I don't just sell product. And I told him a little bit without going overboard, but it made me realize that all these years in the industry and feeling the passion I feel for it, my kids don't even know what I do. So I wonder how many family members are like that, and they have their preconceived notions of what we do. But anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Something popped in my head, when you said that, because, when you're prospecting and someone has their guard up, they're skeptical. One of the ways that you hear me always talk about the feel, felt, found, right? I know how you feel. I felt the same way. This is what I found out. Another great technique is to, answer a question with a question. When somebody, I'm not interested in that, well, what aren't you interested in? Well, I'm not interested in, selling product. What they'll come back with some, perception or what they think it is about. And then you can say, well, hey, if that's what it was all about, I wouldn't have been interested either. You see what I'm saying? Right? So just like when your son comes, I was selling product, I couldn't see doing that. Well, if that's what you think this is, I wouldn't be doing it either. Right? This is way more than that. So answering a question with a question, find out what's on people's mind, but a lot of times reiterating that question back to them, put it back onto their lap. I'm not interested in network marketing. Okay, help me understand what do you think network marketing is? Asking to get a deeper understanding of what they think, what their perception is of what it is that you do or what it is that you're offering, and you're going to find that exact same thing is going to occur. They have no idea, right? I mean, my perception when I entered the industry, I thought it was, one of those businesses where you make no money and lose your friends, was kind of my perception, right? And probably because of the way I had been approached before, right? Just nothing that I had an interest in. So anyway, I thought that might be a good technique that you can use to, again, it's always getting an understanding of what someone thinks can help you, because too many times all we do is talk and we preach. But when you ask people questions, you get a deeper understanding of what they really are thinking, or what they perceive it to be or believe it to be. That brings up one other quick thing when I said the word believe it to be. There's a person by the name of, what's his name? He's a football coach, Lou Tice. And one of a set of personal development audio cassettes that I listened to very, very early on in my career by Lou Tice, a guy by the name of Lou Tice. It's called Mastering the Attitude of Achievement. And I just actually revisited this because I have it on audio cassettes, right? Back at my lake home. And I don't even have a cassette player anymore. So I don't even know what I do with them other than their archive. But I Googled it, and sure enough, it popped up. And he had a digital version, downloaded it through, I think it was through Audible or whatever. Lou Tice, Mastering the Attitude of Achievement. But what was interesting that I learned from listening to this is he says people react not according to the truth as the truth really is, but according to the truth as they believe it or perceive it to be. That you can have conflicting beliefs, right? But information can change belief. Their beliefs are formed by their experiences, by the knowledge that they have. But when you give people new information, they can change their belief. Does that make sense? But I thought it was pretty profound the way he said it, that people react not according to the truth as it really is, but according to the truth as they believe it or perceive it to be. And so when somebody believes that network marketing, nobody makes any money in that, or they believe all it is about selling product, or whatever their belief is, if you, number one, ask the question to find out what that belief is, what their understanding, their perception is, and then you can provide information to change that belief, if that makes sense. Yeah, he also, in that set of audio cassettes, he tells this story about the Wizard of Oz. And, he talks about, the Wizard of Oz, they're, the yellow brick road, and it's the scarecrow who, didn't have any brains, the lion who didn't have any courage, the Tin Man who didn't have a heart. And let me see. Yeah, that's what it was. And then Dorothy. And they're off to see the wizard, because of the wonderful things he does, right? And they said he has the power. People react, what he talked about in this whole series, this is all just trying to come back to me, so I may not have it correct exactly, but he said, he called it the who said of the greatest magnitude, right? And that was the Wizard of Oz, which at the time in the Wizard of Oz was George Burns sitting behind the curtain, with the big speaker, and, came across enormous and as the authority. And, he gave the Tin Man a clock, and all of a sudden, by the power vested in me, you now have a heart, and you can hear it ticking. And the lion, he gave him a badge, right? To give him courage. You now got a badge, or what is it? A badge or a I think it was what it was, a badge. And then the scarecrow, who didn't have any brains, gave him a diploma. By the power vested in me, you now have brains, right? And they left the Wizard of Oz now with someone with the rite of passage, with the who said of the greatest magnitude. Their whole minds shifted to, I've got courage now, I have brains now, I have a heart now, because someone with greater power, gave them that rite of passage, if that makes sense. I may have screwed that whole story up, but I hope you got something out of what I'm talking about. It's someone of authority, which, let's relate that to our business. I talk about this all the time too, that every time you talk to somebody, you're either buying or you're selling. You're either buying someone's story about why something isn't going to work, or you're selling your story about why it is. And whoever has the greatest level of belief or confidence in what it is they're talking about is going to have influence over the other person. So in the story I just shared, George Burns, the Wizard of Oz, was the person with the answers, with the belief, and just by his sheer. Have you ever done this before? You could literally tell someone, just experiment with this and have fun. Matter of fact, I was on I was at the Grand Canyon, no, not the Grand Canyon, Hoover Dam a couple weeks ago, with these people that we're in from New York. And I said, that there's more concrete in the Hoover Dam than the whole rest of the United States. And they're like, really? And I'm like, no, that's not true at all. But I said it with such confidence that they were like, oh, wow, that's an interesting statistic or fact. And when it just gives an example, when you're really confident about something, because most people are not confident in what they're, they've heard about things, they may have developed an opinion, but they don't have that unshakable confidence. And when you come across with that unshakable confidence, that unshakable belief that you're going to make other people question what it is they think they know. Does that make sense? So along those lines, let's see if there's anybody else maybe has a question for me.
John, can I say a couple of things?
Yes, absolutely.
Just comments. Hi. I love this. This is great. But what you just said reminded me of a meeting that we had you come to. We were in a garage with some people, Mennonite population who speak German. And John was on the top of his house in his lake property and came on a connect call with us through Zoom. And just the belief that we just laugh about it now, but we had an interpreter for the German language. And when John came on, he said, would you like me to speak in German or English? And we're like, well, I didn't know you could speak German. You can't. But he had us going. So I just wanted to mention that, John. That was pretty amazing what you did there. And I also wanted to say the power of the stories, because going back to Kathy and stories and family, my oldest brother, Neil, was a stubborn man, and he needed this more than anything. But he didn't listen to us till he started watching us for a little while. So it took him June, July, took him 3 months of watching us. And then it took another 6 months of watching us before some of my friends and family, other than or friends even, said yes to wanting to know what we were doing. So just the power of our stories are pretty amazing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about stories, right? Because too many times we get into trying to talk about too many facts and people get bored with that, but people remember stories because it's relatable. I mean, and there's a saying, it's not what you say, it's how you feel about what you say, or it's not a matter of the content that you deliver, it's how you make them feel, right? It's about what you feel, but it's also about how you make them feel. Right? If you make them glaze over, and when you're talking to somebody about something they don't really know, and you start talking about, upline and downline and this, that, and the other thing, I mean, they glaze over. They don't know what you're talking about. But when you relate stories that they can relate to, they get it. They get it. So stories are a major thing. And when it comes to your own personal story, if you're out there telling your personal story and you're not getting a good response, then you need to work on your story, right? Because if you don't have a good story, you're not going to have good results. And, you can take and develop your story, based on your personal experiences, based on what's going on, work with your upline on that. And I promise you, I don't care what your situation is, we can create a really good story. Okay. That you can own. That's accurate and truthful for you, but people will perceive it completely different. We're going to try to be a little bit shorter. Last time I went, almost an hour. And so I'd like to try to keep this. We'll go about another, maybe 5-10 minutes here. So anybody else have a question for me? quiet group of people. Anybody on YouTube that, Marianne, that wants to spin a question off to us? Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this real quick too, and that is what I call the 3 stages of your growth in network marketing. And the first stage is you're grossly underpaid, okay? And it's because you're by yourself. I mean, if there's income to be earned, it has to be by your activities. And you know, we have to grow our skill level, and it's all based on you know, other people saying yes, and that can take some time, and it can be a very painful stage. Exciting, it can be exciting because you're brand new and this whole new world is opened up to you, but it can also be where people lose that wind out of their sails, and because it may not happen fast enough. So, you know, stage 1 is you're underpaid, right? Stage 2 is you have some duplication. It's no longer just about your personal efforts. You've got other people contributing to the growth of your business. Does that make sense? And then you have stage 3, right? Stage 3 is it's completely out of your control. It's going to happen with you or without you. The duplication is taking place. You've got a team in place. You've got other leaders in place that are going to grow your business regardless of what you do, right? That's going to grow your business. And in network marketing, because in a job, you know, we go to work and we expect to get paid. You know, in a profession, you go to work and you expect to get paid. In network marketing, very much like a small business, and you have to treat it like a business, and you have to have time to grow. And you have, I don't care who you are, you have to go through all 3 stages. Everybody's going to go through stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. How fast you move through those stages, you know, that can vary vastly, but you do have to go through all the stages. And, you know, many people never get out of stage 1 because they lose their belief. They lose their energy and their excitement. If you can maintain that energy and excitement, how do you do that? You have to stay plugged in. You have to listen to personal development. You have to be involved, because if you're not involved, you know, on a daily basis and constantly learning and growing and dreaming about the possibilities, you're likely not to get out of phase 1, right? And never make it to phase 2. And if you can get through, phase 1 is the most difficult, but if you can get to phase 2, now you're making money, you've got some duplication, it's actually starting to happen. And if you can maintain that focus and consistency, you're going to make it to phase 3, right? You know, it's just a matter of time. We got another question there? Raising your hand, or are you just saying yes?
I was saying yeah, but you know, as long as you open it up, I will ask you. I kind of teeter between 1 and 2, I guess. I hate to admit that, but I teeter between 1 and 2. My question is where I'm struggling when I hear you say that. I feel myself getting a little stressed out when I think about bringing new people in and I'm only at a 1. I mean, and how do I not spill out what you're gonna go through and end up killing them before they even get started? I mean, you know.
What do you mean, kill them before they get started? What, give me a little
Well,
bit
because you share maybe the hard side, the stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
This, you might go through this, you know, and you don't want to start with that, do you? I mean,
no, you don't want to start because this is, you know, network marketing is kind of need to know business, right? I mean,
okay, okay.
You don't, when they're first in, and they can only comprehend so much anyway. I mean, you need to focus on very basic fundamental activities, the excitement of what the possibilities can be to get them through stage 1, right? After they've been in stage 1, or like you say, you popped into stage 2, drop back to stage 1, you know, then the reality of, you know, hey, you know, this is a journey, right? This is a marathon, it's not a race. And we're going to have personal development, and we're going to have disappointments, and that's where you can get more into that serious talk. But if you have that serious talk from the day they get started, you know, yeah, you know, because they got to grow into it. They got to learn. But I said this last week too, that, you know, network marketing, and this is true, I think, about any business, but we are in the building and the rebuilding. Right? There is no, I don't care what, I was on a Zoom this morning with some people in Denmark, and we were talking just a little bit about this and the building and the rebuilding state of this, because there are times in every company where it's like massive momentum. There's windows in every company that have these spurts of growth, but that's like 10% of the time. I don't care what the company is, any company. A lot of them will go into this spurt of growth. It's very fun, exciting times, but 90% of the time you're in the building and the rebuilding mode, waiting for that moment where it explodes again. And the key to take advantage of that moment is you need to be involved. You need to be engaged, and you need to have as many people engaged as possible. So when that moment occurs, you can make major ground. Does that make sense? Right? And the problem is people quit before the moment, and the moment always comes, and then it'll level off again, and then it's going to come again. And you need to be there and be present, involved, and engaged, or you're going to miss it. It's kind of like that. If you think about, a surfer, right? And you look for that wave, right? You paddle out on your board, and you're looking off into the horizon, and you're looking for that big wave to ride. And when you see that wave, you turn your board and you paddle like crazy, right? To try to catch the wave and ride it. And if you don't turn your board, the wave's probably just going to tip you over, right? If you don't paddle hard enough, the wave's going to roll underneath you. And so every company has their moments, but any company, and what the mistake people make is they get in the moment and they think the moment lasts forever. It never lasts forever. Moments come and go. Every company is going to have their moments of growth. And if they're a good, well-run company, they're gonna keep having those moments. And that's where I see we are right now. We're headed for a moment where lives are going to change again financially in a big way. For those that are involved, for those that are engaged, for those that have, the more people you have engaged, the better the moment compounds on your result. So that's what keeps me going, knowing that and having a deep understanding of that.
John, can I add something?
Yes, please.
Yes. Regarding the rebuilding, I've seen a lot on the Zoom today that's been here with us for at least 4 years. And I want to say, don't be afraid to rebuild. I'll be celebrating my 6 years in the company this coming July. Personally, my experience is rebuilding, constant rebuilding, and don't be afraid. The only way to succeed in this business and to make as much money as you want is the rebuilding. A couple days ago, I reached out to my friend in Sweden, and I asked her, I said, you have to look at this. I invited her into the business in 2015, the start when I started. And we experienced major challenges, right? Since then, they don't get the products. But when we heard, we have warehouses right now all across Europe. So being confident and knowing what's going on in our company, because a lot of us, we don't pay some details too. So how do we build confidence? Learning, reading with what we have in our company, what's going on in our company. So if I don't know that we have warehouses in these areas in Europe, then how could I, have that belief and confidence to convey, to deliver? So I told her, you need to look at this business again. We have warehouses in these places, and you know what? She's back. So I'm so excited because she is in Sweden. She started in 2015, got lost because of the things that happened that we have no direct control. And she's so excited. So she did ordered 6 products, all the Europa Joe and Tropical Blast. And she knows that she has friends that are Thai, and we know that we are building the Thai market in Thailand. So that is something that I just want to share to everyone here. Go back to people that it's given. We have business partners that joined us years ago and they're gone. And don't be afraid to reach out to them. Like we have so many things to offer. So that's my experience today and this morning also. When you have that belief and confidence in the product, you are not hesitant to share. And one of my friends from Minnesota, she, she said she had a C-section and she wants to lose weight again. She's okay losing weight slowly but surely, and she wants the coffee and the tea. And I just said, you need to try the amulet because it helps you with your incision. And she said, yes, I will try that. I mean, like, we all know that what we have, what the product quality of products that we have here, it's up for us to share it too. So those are the things that I just want to, share it with everyone this morning.
Well, and I think, Raphael, that kind of lends to the personal timing of people, right? Or the timing of a market, like you mentioned, Sweden, or your lady in Minneapolis that had a C-section, and all of a sudden now, her life is in a different place, and now she's open to looking at this. So you never, I mean, that's one thing you always want to do. When somebody says no, it just means no, not now, right? I mean, their beliefs can change. Let's think about that for a moment. When someone says no, why do they say no? Well, maybe you did a lousy job at sharing it. That's possible. Maybe you don't have any credibility or influence with them. I mean, that's possible. Maybe the timing in their life is just where it doesn't matter what you tell them, they're not interested. You could do the best job in the world and they're just not interested, right? Their belief is they don't believe in network marketing, or they don't believe in nutrition, or they've got a great job and whatever. The thing is, every one of those things can change, right? You may have did a terrible job and you go back to them and say, you know what, I talked to you like 6 months ago about what I was doing, and I really just got to apologize because I didn't know what I was talking about, but I do now, right? I do now. And, or, maybe you've been in a million different deals and you don't have the credibility with anybody, but you work this consistently and you get some traction and you get a little bit of a story, and now all of a sudden you've got that credibility again to go back. Or somebody loses their job, or they have a C-section, or they, we get a major shutdown in the whole world, and all of a sudden the home-based business becomes, I need to revisit that. I need to relook at that. So you constantly want to go back and say, how are you doing? Let me share you how I'm doing, what's happening. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. We went 40 minutes. And next week, I actually have someone else that's going to be on here helping out. Bill Ball is going to be here working and helping with the Fireside chat, because I have something else that I'm going to be doing. So join him next Friday. Bill Ball is going to be doing it, and I'm sure that's going to be fantastic too. So with that, everybody have a fantastic rest of your Friday and your weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, bye now.